What is up, everybody? I'm Dr. Ray Gorman, and in this little training, we're going to talk about the number one thing that is holding you back from getting to where you want to be. Guess what? It is just the current version of yourself, right? The current version of ourself is literally the only thing holding us back from becoming who we want to be. So I like to do this exercise with people and kind of ask them, like, how does the current version of you make decisions? Do you think with scarcity? Do you tend to overthink? Do you tend to lack taking action? The more that you can understand that those current behaviors are the things holding you back, the sooner you can change them, right? So let's look at something that I think holds a lot of people back. When I was going to start my cash clinic, uh, I was making, let's call it $35 an hour in the outpatient orthopedic realm. I was making $50 an hour at the skilled nursing facility that I was working PRN at. And so I said to myself, like, hey, if I'm going to go work for other people for $50 an hour, why don't I give myself a 20% raise and charge $60 an hour for physical therapy? Because honestly, at that point, the current version of me thought that was a lot of money. Like, thought that was a good hourly rate. It's $25 more than I'm getting paid in the clinic. It's a good hourly rate. Why wouldn't I do that? But I got some good advice on what my prices should be. And I got the advice from somebody who was living as a future version of me. They had already gone through this phase, and they said, pick a number that makes you uncomfortable. And I settled on $90 an hour a session, right? And what happened was, in that moment, I stopped behaving like the current version of me, who understood pricing as a measure of what I'm paid by my employer. And I started behaving as a future version of me who understood pricing as a component to value. So the thing that happened here with this statement was I literally started to behave differently. I started to think differently. I started to act like I was the future version of myself that was worth $90 a session, right? So you have to start becoming future version of you. Let me tell you another scenario here. Let's take somebody that is overweight, for example. Okay, the person that is overweight, they don't get in shape by continuing their current behaviors, by lacking sleep, eating junk food, not working out. But what do they have to start doing? They have to start behaving like the person they want to become. So how does the future version of themselves behave? They get up every morning and they drink a glass of water instead of, some high sugar juice. They start their day with movement and exercise. They limit screen time before bed. They eat an appropriate amount of calories. They work out 5 days a week. They start to get 7,500, 9,000 steps per day. They literally start behaving like the future version of themselves, and what starts to happen? The current version of themselves starts to shed away. So I recently had a client that sold a plan of care to his first ever in-person client at an average value of $214 a session, right? The only reason that he was able to do this was because we went through an exercise where we said, what does the future version of yourself feel like when they present an offer that is worth this? He said they feel confident. Are they decisive with their, recommendation to the client? Yes, they're decisive with the recommendation to the client. Do they let the client dictate their prices? Because they were letting the clients kind of dictate their prices. No, they don't let the client dictate their prices. Do they stand firm in the value that they can provide? Yes, they stand firm in the value that they can provide. Then when you make your offer, I want you to be that person. I want you to be the person who is confident in their offer. I want you to be the person who is confident in the value that they can provide. I want you to be the person who is confident that you can help this client get the outcome that they need better than anyone else out there. I want you to be confident in your prices, and I want you to be confident and stand your ground, because the current version of you has a tendency to back down, has a tendency to default to giving discounts, has a tendency to understand their situation a little bit too much. And what happens? You're not getting great outcomes because of it. And who's actually the one suffering? Is it just you, or is it that client because you're a little bit resentful in that process? So the exercise that I want you to go through here is, what is the current version of you doing? How does the current version of you behave? How do you perceive risk? How do you view employment? Do you perceive that as stability? What does the future version of you look like? Are they confident? Do they charge $300 per hour and not bat an eye when, somebody says, oh, that's expensive? They know exactly how to handle that conversation. Do they know how to have the "do you take my insurance" convo? Do they get superior outcomes? Are they confident in the direction of their life and in their business? If you are ready to become the future version of you, you can take action right now, and all you need to do is book a call. You can use the link that's below. If you want more information on what we do, head over to engagemovement.com or shoot me a message over on Instagram at RayGormanDPT. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel so you can see more videos like this. And I look forward to seeing what the future version of you is capable of.